What's up everyone, welcome back to Lace Up Channel. My name is Mickey. In today's video, welcome to my at-home studio, the Estudio de Magique. Now, I don't know why I'm using that accent. Bottom line, guys, I'm here because I've been under the weather for the last week or so with the vid, but I'm recovering. And I wanted to make a video for you guys because it's been the better part of a month since I've made some content. So today, in today's video, guys, I want to talk about private labeling. More specifically, how private labeling is being used by distributors to exponentially grow their market share and their profitability. So in this video, I want to cover what is private labeling, what are the advantages of private labeling, what are the disadvantages, and last but not least, how maybe you can start your very own private label. Anyways, let's get right into it. So private labeling is when a product is manufactured by the manufacturer and it's sold to the distributor or the end retailer with their brand. Have any of you guys ever heard of, I don't know, the Kirkland brand, or the Sam's Club brand, or the Publix brand, or the Smith's and Kroger brand? Every single time you walk into a retailer and you browse the shelves and displays, you almost always find a brand with the name of the store that you're sitting within. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that indeed is private labeling. Now, to give you a spot of context, private labeling accounts for $5.5 trillion in retail sales as of 2019, and today it accounts for almost 6 trillion. Almost 6 trillion. I think we should hit 6 trillion by 2024, so we're right around the corner. So it's a huge industry. It's a huge industry, and more people keep wanting to do it. The problem is that the smaller distributors are really getting squeezed when it comes to private labeling. So guys, let's talk about the advantages of doing your very own private label. So the very first advantage is the fact that when you do your own private label, you get increased profit margins. Now, this is not a product of you being super crazy creative and being able to find and manufacture the goods. The bottom line is, to do your own private label, you need to outlay a tremendous amount of cash to put in a huge PO with the manufacturer in order for them to fill the order. They need economies of scale to do private labels. As a matter of fact, many of my manufacturers ask for minimums, huge minimums. I've got a distributor here in Miami that won't do a private label for less than $25,000 to $50,000. And to be frank, that's actually quite reasonable. So yes, you need a tremendous cash outlay up front, but by doing so, your private label is delivered to you at a cost that gives you some leeway in terms of profit margin, which means, boys and girls, that's right, your product is more profitable. Now, the second advantage is the fact that when you do private label, you get a product that's differentiated from your competition. So when you work with a manufacturer, you're able to make small tweaks and alterations to the product, especially if you're a bigger buyer and if you're putting in larger purchase orders, you've got more pull and more power, which means you can offer your end consumer a private labeled product that is slightly different than the mainstream product produced by the manufacturer. So I don't know, let's say you want to add a special little ingredient, or you want to do something just a little bit different. You can when you private label, which gives you a step up and some advantages on your competition. The third advantage of private labeling is the fact that you get to develop your own brand. Your own brand is perhaps the most valuable part of your business. Now, I can't tell you how many distributors, they just end up buying from one party, selling to the other, thinking that they're gonna make billions of dollars. I'm gonna be rich, I'm gonna be super rich. And the bottom line is, guys, you don't get rich by buying someone's product and selling it to someone else. You get rich by building a brand, by having your own products. And that's what private labeling allows you to do. It allows you to sell your products into stores. It allows the consumer to see those products and over time develop some kind of brand awareness and brand loyalty with your products. And that brand awareness and loyalty brings the moolah, baby. That's why, guys, you want to start doing private labeling if you really want to develop your own brand. The fourth and final advantage to doing private labeling is the fact that you get a more stable offering. When you buy private label from a manufacturer, you're always going to get the same label, you're always going to get the same logo, things won't change on you nonetheless. when you buy from the manufacturer their actual product and you turn around to resell that product, the manufacturer can change almost every aspect from the packaging to the package size, all the way to the actual ingredients of the product. So you do get a little bit of stability when it comes to private labeling. Now, that's not to say that your product can't be changed on you, but it does give you just a little bit more added stability. And I think guys, that's a good segue into the disadvantages. What are the disadvantages of private labeling? Number one, large allocations of capital are needed to get your private label orders filled. That's right, guys. You need to come in with a briefcase, back up the Brinks truck to the manufacturer, because they're not going to make a private label for anybody, only those that are willing to make the investment. So be prepared not only for a huge order size, but maybe even for a time commitment, because if the distributor is going to go through the time of developing the packaging, developing the product to private label it for you, they will want to make a return on investment, and those R&D costs will have to be covered. So get prepared for a huge cash outlay up front. The second disadvantage is just how much time it takes to develop a brand image. Your brand, ladies and gentlemen, will take years and years and years to ingrain in the consumer's head. Like, take me for example. I walk into a supermarket and I see two products. One I've bought for the last 20 years and the other one I've never heard of. What is the probability I will buy the one I've never heard of? Well, if the price is the same, then the probability is almost zero. Nonetheless, if you're able to present this product and develop a brand image that means the end consumer, i.e. me in this story, gets a discount, then I can tell you the probability of me trying out that product exponentially goes up. And I think the statistic is somewhere in the 40% range. So if you develop your brand based on cost savings, there's a 40% chance you will attract customers from other brands. So guys, yeah, it's gonna take time to develop that brand, and that indeed is a disadvantage up front. The third disadvantage, and perhaps the most obvious, is the blatant risk of failure. Oh, I know, Johnny, I know you're a business person and you've dealt with that your entire life, but you should know that if you put in one of these huge POs with the manufacturer, they ship you the product, you're now sitting on $50,000, $100,000 of product, and you take it to the store just to find out that the consumer not only does not like the packaging or the logo or the name or the ethos of the product, and all of a sudden you are out that huge outlay of investment. So I've always been a firm believer of finding product market fit. That means finding the fit for your product within a market and finding that there is some demand prior to taking all this capital and injecting it into a business or a product that may fail, especially a private labeled product. So be cognizant of the risk of failure. The next disadvantage is the fact that you are so dependent on the manufacturer. And I know you're like, Mickey, didn't you say that was an advantage? Yes, but it's also a disadvantage because you rely on the manufacturer to produce your product. Things could change. There could be supply chain shortages, as most of you know, in this current economic environment that's absolutely insane. There could be changes to the recipe with which your product is made. All of a sudden the quality could drop. Things could happen that are not within your control, and you could be sitting on this behemoth of a profitable product that all of a sudden could turn on its head and there's nothing you can do about it. So you've got to be cognizant of the risk that your dependency on the manufacturer may hinder your product, may hinder your business. So keep that in mind, because you will indeed be dependent on this person, and if it fails, your business fate hinges on it. The last and most dangerous disadvantage that I want to touch upon is that I've seen the manufacturer so many times undercut the distributor, undercut the private label, and go straight to the end consumer. Remember, the manufacturer could always beat your costs. The manufacturer could always beat your brand because they are, in a way, the only person that can control it. So when you get into one of these relationships, make sure you've got some kind of exclusivity. Make sure that this manufacturer won't be able to turn around, especially with your brand or something almost like it, and sell it to the end consumer, thus undercutting you and stealing your business right from underneath you. Now, the way I've worked out these private label deals in the past is that the brand is unique to a certain market segment. So the last brand I worked out was with a health and beauty brand, and I was working it out with an influencer who wanted to to sell or resell the product that this company manufactured. And this influencer wanted to rename the product and private label it, which they were able to do, but the influencer ended up negotiating exclusivity on behalf of his brand to the internet so that the manufacturer could not sell that brand through that channel, which meant that the influencer had some kind of exclusivity, and because this influencer's following was so large, they were able to exploit profits from this product for a very extended period of time. So just be aware that your manufacturer could undercut you, could undercut your private label and go straight to the client. Make sure you account for that in some way, shape, or form. Now guys, you know what a private label is, you know the advantages, you know the disadvantages. Let's talk about how to actually get your product private labeled. Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to think about which product aligns with your business and with your vision as much as possible. So if you're an ice cream distributor, perhaps an ice cream that's private labeled, or if you're a chip distributor, perhaps a chip with your name and logo. I don't know. You have to figure out which product is a good fit for your business, and then you have to choose potential manufacturers to produce the product. Now, normally I like to hinge on the manufacturers who I have a relationship with, manufacturers who I already buy product from and sell to others. Those are the manufacturers that I like to work with. Now, I recommend you go to your book of vendors and you find those that manufacture and start having conversations with those individuals. The next thing you want to think about is the packaging. Do you have the packaging, the logo, everything needed to make something presentable to the end consumer? Well, make sure that you work on that, as packaging and presentation will be one of the most important aspects moving forward into this journey. So once you have the idea and the packaging and the manufacturer, the next step is to request samples and to taste those samples. Make sure that the quality of the product is up to par with what the manufacturer normally produces. Make sure that they don't skimp out on quality just because this is a private label product. If they're unwilling to give you a taste, they're willing to give you a sample, then perhaps they're not the right fit for your business. Like I've seen so many times, my manufacturers give the private labeling company a sample or a box of samples, a test run, something that they can use as a proof of concept to make sure that the idea is going to work and that it is valid. So make sure you get that sample and that you taste it or try it out. The last steps, now that you've tried the sample and everything, is that you want to negotiate your initial buy order and you want to make something as small as possible. Now, unless you've got this huge guarantee from one of your customers, but if you don't, try to get something as small as possible to show some product market fit. Understand lead times to get this product manufactured. Understand how long it's going to take you to get your hands on it. And last but not least, you want to sign what's called an OEM agreement. So this agreement allows you to specify terms of the agreement, size of the agreement, length of the agreement, what exclusivity you'll have, whether it be a segment exclusivity or market exclusivity. All of these things go into this OEM agreement. Just make sure that you involve a lawyer in this entire legal process. As I am not a legal or lawyer, I'm not a specialist in any way, shape, or form, but I do understand how this stuff works, and my customers, they operate in this world more often than not. Anyways, I know that that was an oversimplification in regards to how you get approved, or in regards to how you find a manufacturer, but the point is, start getting out there, having conversations with different manufacturers. At least now you guys understand the general advantages, disadvantages, and steps. If you have any questions, go down below, hit me up in the comments, give me a thumbs up or thumbs down if you liked or disliked the video. I don't know, but I'm back to making content, boys and girls. If you like the channel and the information that I have to share with you, please give me a subscribe. Apart from that, I hope that you have an amazing day. Take care.